What's up, everybody? It's an alternate Thursday at 10:30 p.m. It's time for three old men to yell at some clouds. I'm one of your co-hosts, Clan Diesel. Off to my side, my co-hostess with the mostest, Dr. Diz DM. Howdy, everybody, Diz.
Hi.
And the one, the only, the Admiral, Double Up Buck. What up, Buck?
Hello.
Awesome. And if you're wondering, did they just have a stroke? No, we had no audio in the intro, so we had to do it again.
We had to backtrack to this day and age.
That's true. But don't worry, it'll all be cut off in the YouTube video. It'll be perfect as always.
Will it though? I think we should leave it.
I mean, whatever. So before the episode, you missed our first episode of Succession Cast. We discussed the English succession to the throne and the British monarchy.
We did.
That episode is available now to our $5 patrons over at wewishwehadapatreon.com.
And if you subscribe to that, we'll even make sure we have polls so that you can vote on what we discussed.
There you go. There you go. Polls. There you go. So we're here. We're ready to yell at some clouds. So tonight, we have a very special episode, something we all are very passionate about. And one person, if he's in the stream, I don't know if he is, he may be asleep. But Baker Boom Boom is very not passionate. And tonight we're going to be talking about WoW Classic versus WoW Retail. Differences, similarities, and why Classic is better.
Whoa, shit. Nope. I'm out, chat. Glad just crossed the line.
But anyway, we'll get everybody's opinion on things, see where they stand. Maybe some ways now that Wrath of the Lich King is coming out here in a couple of weeks. Maybe ways that WoW Classic can improve, but not kind of jump the shark. So,
hey, I just want to put this out before we advance this.
Mm-hmm.
Diz, right now, I know we didn't talk, but if me and Clan rotated on screen, we could have an Oreo with a blue center.
That's true.
That's true. That's true.
Because you and I look pretty damn close.
And someone informed me it was Gray Shirt Day.
Nobody. And if he takes off his shirt, we could get banned.
I mean,
that is true. That is true. That is. I mean, the one chick
as
only
long
got
as
banned.
As long as he's not showing nips, we're fine.
The one
we got some drinks.
Only got banned for like 3 days, and she had sex on stream. So really, how far can we? I mean, how much are they going to ban?
I just think it's funny because I was like, the more I looked at that, I was like, damn, we look pretty similar. And Clan is like way off in left field over here.
I am the odd man out over here on the right side of the room.
The blue boy over here.
So, chat, as always, feel free to post your comments, your ideas, your thoughts in the chat. We'll get to them as we can. But I guess we're going to start this. So, I will start. Diz.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of think I know where your heart lies in this.
Mm-hmm. Pancakes.
But
pancakes.
Your pancakes are great. Who doesn't like pancakes? You know who doesn't like pancakes? Satan. Mm-hmm. Are you in league with Satan? So, WoW Classic, WoW Retail. Thoughts?
They're different, but they're the same. Because retail came from Classic. But I prefer Classic over retail.
I knew you were going to say that.
I like retail, but I will say this. I like Classic with add-ons.
I like WoW with add-ons. Either one. If I couldn't use add-ons, I don't know what I would do.
I think that both of y'all need to learn how to play the damn game without those fucking quest add-ons.
I can't read.
Hey.
Well, then follow Clan around. Clan can read.
Don't feel bad. We also found out Timmy can't read either.
Well,
because he was trying to turn in quests the other day, and he's like, I don't know. Well, these quests aren't completing. And we're like, did you read the quest that you have to go here first? And he's like, I was like, I almost said, Buck, I've been here before.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I knew that was kind of a loaded question. Is I knew going into this that you were a classic lover.
Well, the problem that we have though is Diz isn't a full classic lover. Diz is a to level 25 classic lover, and then he wants to stop and make another damn character. He can't even make it to max level.
I came really close.
Out. You did come really close. Yes.
I got a level 58 hunter.
Yeah, you got real close on Heartseeker. That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So, Buck, same question. Which do you prefer? Classic or retail?
Well, see, now that's a hard one to actually answer because it depends on what we're basing it on.
Personal preference. Like if you had to choose between the two, which one would you play?
Based on max content right now?
No, just like if you had a gun to your head and they said you have to choose one, which one are you going to choose to play?
Oh, well, then we're going with retail because retail is going to have more content in the long run.
True. Does have more content.
That is true. It does have more content.
You cannot debate that one.
That is true. That is true.
I mean, if I have to pull the trigger and pick a choice out of that regard, then it's retail all day. Because Classic's not going any further than Wrath.
Yeah, see, I believe that too. I don't think it's going to go any further than Wrath. I don't think we're going to go into Cataclysm.
Cataclysm started changing too much.
Right, yeah. If you get to Cataclysm, then you're heading into retail.
Yep. You're literally just making the exact same game over again, except letting the newer generation play everything from the beginning like it did when we've done it since 2004.
We'll have retail classic, and classic.
Classic. I wish they would.
You have retail and
into
retail
a
plus.
Different story. Just completely take where they're at.
I mean, it's a good opportunity. Wait a minute, we got some. Oh my lord, Lady Chaotic is raiding. Thanks, Lady K. How are you doing?
What's the hype explosion?
The hype explosion. We got one emote, baby, and it's going off. There it is.
Just one emote.
Is this the same emote that Bruce Banner uses?
Maybe.
I mean, that looked like some gamma hype right there.
It was radioactive hype. Everybody in chat needs to see a doctor.
That was funny. It had the emotes were like this big on the screen. You could see those two.
Oh, well, thank you, Lady K, for the raid. People from Lady K's stream, thank you for joining us. This is Nerdacopia Network, and we're three old men yelling about WoW Retail versus WoW Classic. Glad you could stop by.
Drink.
Drink. Here we go.
Damn it. I don't have one, but I'll drink anyways.
We got to dry out for a few weeks, and now we're going to drown because of chat.
We can add you one in.
That's right.
I think I'll do that.
Apparently, Lady is ready for some WoW.
Yes. Did you get that character transfer?
She did.
She did transfer her character. So now we're all on Sargento.
Yep.
It's a lovely server, chat. It's delicious.
A little cheesy.
A little cheesy, but delicious. It goes great on a sandwich. So we've been talking about WoW Retail versus WoW Classic, and you guys are coming in at a great time because we're at the very beginning. So far, we've determined that is a WoW Classic stand, Buck, gun to his head, retail all day, day. Me, I haven't answered yet. And it's really hard for me to answer because I consider them really two separate games, not the same. Yes, they're both World of Warcraft, but they're very different versions of World of Warcraft, right? It's like if you were playing, it's like, we play D&D. So like retail is 5e, right? While classic is second edition. I've played both. They both work well for what they do. One is very different than the other one, and they are not compatible with each other.
True.
I like classic for the nostalgia. I remember very, very much going to Walmart, picking up WoW on launch, Burning Crusade on launch night, Wrath of the Lich King on launch night.
See, I never played TBC or Wrath when it was out.
So this is your first experience going through those expansions. Yeah.
Well, I guess you kind of run, you can run through some of those in retail. You pick your path kind of, right? So
this is right. You can go through the content in retail
because I did
the experience is different.
It is much different. Yeah.
The experience is very different in classic than it is. That is for sure.
Well,
nice.
Before Shadowlands came out, though, if you didn't get a character boost, you had to play all of the expansions to level up.
Mm-hmm. And when I maxed out a couple of characters, I ran them through level 1 all the way up in retail because I wanted to learn like how to play the character all the way through. Because when I found that when I took my rogue and bounced him all the way to max level, I no longer knew how to play him because it was too different.
Learning of the mechanics of your character. Yeah.
I never have that problem.
Yeah.
I don't think you've ever boosted either.
Well, I mean, I get the boost when I get the expansion stuff. But I mean, let's face it. When you have 34 characters and you've played every class, it doesn't matter if you boost one character. You're not going to be like, oh, I don't know how to play this character. Because I got him there to start with.
Yeah. That is true. Very true. So I guess since you like classic better than you do retail, explain why that is. What is it about classic that draws you in more than retail?
All right. So stay with me here. There's two things here. There's two main reasons.
Two-part. Are you ready for this, Buck? There's a two-part answer. Chat, take notes. There'll be
the first one. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. It is the feel of the game. So WoW Classic, the way it feels to control the character is different than in retail. It just feels different. And I don't, if you don't know what that means, then I probably can't explain it to you. Like, it's just like in shooters or different things like that, the feel of it, if it just doesn't feel right, then a lot of times I can't really, I don't have as much fun with it. But the second thing is very contradictory. I feel like retail handholds you, right? A little too much and guides you a little too much. But in classic, I like the add-ons that give me a little bit of guidance. So it's like I like to be guided a little bit, but not to the point where it's like, hey, dummy, go over there.
You want somebody to point you in the right direction and you figure it out. You don't want somebody saying, go here, and then a big light shines down from the sky and says here.
I will say this. If I didn't have the add-ons, I would still prefer classic. I might even enjoy it more if I actually had to pay attention and do the stuff, because I had to do that the first go around.
Chat because he's not going to read the quest.
That is true. He's not going to read.
I did it the first go around when I played it in the early 2000s. So
I don't believe it.
I got a paladin to level like 40 something. Had no friends
Blotter, it
playing.
didn't happen. I can't
So
believe that.
I did. I got him to level 40. Couldn't afford the mount. So
I mean, you're a paladin. What mount
Get
are
it-
you affording? The
get it for
paladin came with
free.
his own mount.
didn't know the game that well, I guess. So
Paladin and warlocks chat in classic. You want your own mount without paying an arm and a leg? Pick one of them two.
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
That's why. Now I will say this about retail. Retail has like Buck said, a lot of content, and I enjoy a lot of those quests because you have a lot of variety in there of like different scenarios that they put you into and stuff like that. But it's the feel of the game. It just feels different to me, the whole thing. Even like I noticed like playing the rogue, I don't enjoy playing rogue in retail. I cannot do it at all, but I love it in classic.
Yeah.
So
I figured
but
out
I do
why
like the
Clay.
warlock. I like the warlock in retail. So,
This
and I
is
don't
old,
like it in classic.
and his hand-eye coordination is not as fast.
Maybe.
And so in retail, he can't play the rogue because it's more fast-paced rogue.
Mm.
Priest through the three.
I'm just saying.
I've not
And it's
played a
weird.
rogue one either, so
Like I
Yeah.
played hunters in classic and enjoy it, but I haven't played a hunter in retail because I don't know if I enjoy it or not. I don't know. It's just weird. So
From what I heard, you just don't take a pet.
I have heard that.
don't take a pet.
Now, see,
Is
lady,
that what I'm doing wrong?
different. I honestly try to avoid healers.
You avoid them.
Yeah, I try to not be a healer.
He doesn't party
Or a
with them.
tank,
Doesn't
because-
associate with them.
because they are the ones that get yelled at the most. You know, if I'm
Well, yeah.
DPS, I just sit back there and I hit my buttons and they do damage, and you know, nobody cares. I don't like I don't like getting yelled at while I'm trying to relax and play the game. As Buck can attest to. Because I was playing healer in Final Fantasy 14 and that ended rather quickly.
Yeah, and he tried to heal us one time. It just didn't work out.
Yeah, that's true. I did. I spec'd DPS. This is like, God, I just thought you sucked at healing. True story. However, did we or did we not get my Dark Iron Dwarves?
We did.
You're welcome.
There were a
I'm
few
the one
deaths.
stayed alive, kicking the shit out of everything.
That is true.
I stayed alive a lot. I was
Well,
a
yeah,
rogue.
because you vanished and went and hid in a corner and healed up.
That is true, lady. You're better at that than I am, 100%. So, Buck, now you're on the opposite side, right? You said you prefer retail
Well,
to classic.
you said if I had a gun to my head.
Right. So, right, a gun to Diz's head, he'd choose classic over retail.
Diz would choose classic over retail gun or not.
So, what makes you drawn to retail more than classic?
Because retail keeps expanding, keeps bringing more, keeps evolving, keeps sending you other places. I lived classic from start to finish. I watched it evolve into what it is now. Why do I want to keep backtracking and playing the same thing that I lived through the first time when the content is evolving the other way? Because do I?
So you prefer retail because it brings in new experiences, things you haven't done before.
I mean,
Maybe
I lived through all the other.
Maybe we wish for a simpler time where we had less responsibilities and more enjoyment of things in our life.
So you think it's the nostalgia glasses, Diz, huh?
But see, that's the thing. Classic was not an easier time. Classic was not a better time.
Classic
In-
is a harder game than
Yes.
retail.
Classic is hardcore WoW.
Yeah, if somebody's new to the game, I would definitely recommend they play retail over classic.
And that's another thing. Like ladies talked about the story. In classic, you're living the story in a more punch to the face time frame. Because in retail, you go through those zones before you're level 60. Zone levels with you now, which I think that's stupid as crap. But that never should have happened. But
Agreed.
you know, you make a mistake in retail and the game shifts a little to try to aid you in correcting it. You make a mistake in classic and the game went
Yep, you just
and
did.
looked at you and said, now pick your ass back up and try that again.
Yeah.
Because it knocked your teeth out your mouth. I
Yeah.
lived that.
Yeah, classic is definitely more like Abraham Lincoln in the Kids in the Hall sketch. Or is that the wrong show, Diz? Was it Kids in the Hall?
Why kid you know?
Oh, why did you know? It is for kids, right? But so yeah,
I knew where he was going with that chat. I
Yeah.
just knew it wasn't the same. I just wasn't going to call him out on it.
yeah.
Don't break
Appreciate
my
it.
butt. You're breaking my butt.
Yeah. Retail will hold your hand and make sure you're okay.
I mean, don't get me
Hits you with a
wrong.
bug paddle and stands there and goes, "What?"
Don't get me wrong. In retail, when you're in the expansion and you're at in-game content, it's just as bad as you're playing classic. They hit hard. They have no qualms about kicking your ass. It's the getting there that they made it easier so that people could get to in-game faster. In-game is where all the hard-hitting crap comes from in every expansion. Y'all think that playing Destiny World first is something to see? Get on retail or classic, either one, and watch a full raid team that's never touched it before have to figure out every fucking boss mechanic in a 9 to 12 boss fight run. That is some of the most difficult, time-consuming, frustrating, I want to just throw my PC through the wall shit I've ever been a part of. Because it took us 8 hours one time to beat one boss because there was a mechanic that nobody even knew existed at the time that particular raid came out.
Yeah.
And so that, in Destiny, the mechanics are kind of the same. Every so often, a new boss has something odd or unique that after about 15, 20 tries of you paying attention, of everybody gets on board and you can be like, okay, we could do this. We just got our timing's still off.
And there's only 6 people.
Right. and you've got 25 in retail now, but in classic, you had 40 people all trying to get on the same page. Like, this shit's insane if you're not in a well-knit group that runs all the time.
Yeah. Lady brings up a good point, and I'll speak to it as far as like, if you've never played through classic when it was original content,
Like
there are events that happened, right? And if older players all remember these because we went through it the first time.
We lived it the first time.
Classic is allowing new players that didn't play those expansions, or maybe even completely new to WoW, that have never experienced that. So one of those is, Wrath of the Lich King comes out the 26th, right? And up until the 26th, events are happening in the game, right? So like right now it's plague boxes, right? They're showing up and things are getting the plague. So it's not just players that get the plague, but NPCs are getting the plague. So Lady is walking around and a plague cockroach gives her the plague, And then like 10 minutes later, she becomes a ghoul and dies because she doesn't know how to get rid of it. But that's something that like, you know, when Wrath was getting ready to come out originally, that's something that happened and people know that. And now I think it's cool though that Classic gives new players like Lady and Diz and stuff that missed that content originally the chance to live through that how it was. I think that's a really cool idea. Classic. Because now you have stories about it. Like Lady died to a cockroach. They had beat her ass in 3 minutes. How many people can say they got KO'd by a cockroach? Wow.
Depends. A lot, and wow.
So is
In
this
real
just
life,
on the
that's the whole
Alliance
component.
side?
No.
No, this is on both sides.
Both sides.
In fact,
what if you're
it's
undead?
odd. Oh, if you're undead, it's happening too. That's what I was going to say. It's odd when you go to Lordaeron, you're looking at everything and you're like, this is normal. And then one individual is plagued in the middle of all of that undead shit, and you don't catch it in time. It kills half the town, half of the actual kingdom, NPCs and players alike, and everybody was used to the fact that that's what they looked like. And so this one plagued individual is there and wipes half the fucking town. And you're like, are you kidding? I'm not going to Lordaeron ever again until this shit's over with, because you didn't know where that dude was when he rounded the corner. Everything was dead.
Right. Well, a couple of nights ago, right? Timmy and I, you'd already logged off, Diz, and Buck, I think, was in Minecraft, and I was helping Timmy and do quests there in Westfall. He goes to Sentinel Hill to turn in his quest. Can't turn in his quest because the plague spread to the NPCs there and killed them. So you have to wait for them to respawn.
It was while he was trying to get the messenger quest.
Yep, there were a horde over there that either would one go in and kill everybody, or they would go and purposely get infected and come back and infect everybody else. So like the people at Sentinel Hill were infected. The flight master was infected. Everybody but those vendors at the caravan infected. So it was quite a show. And then Timmy gets infected and becomes a ghoul, and he's like, "How do I get rid of this? I don't know what to do." And I said, "Go up to those guards." And the guards cured him of being infected because he was.
Oh, they cured him, all right. Cured him of breathing and everything.
Yeah, but luckily they killed him. He walked back from the graveyard, which was just right there. And by the time he got back and rezzed, the NPCs had spawned back in, so he's able to turn it res. And then here in just a little bit, we're going to get even more because the Lich King will send the Scourge to attack this. So there will be, just attacks, random attacks.
Well, anybody that played Culling of Stratholme played through that dungeon. Even after, in retail recently, you'll know what's happening the moment that the Scourge attacks if you've been to that dungeon. Because that's the premise of what started this. What happened in Stratholme with Arthas before he became the Lich King is what set this up for this knockdown drag out that's happening right now.
So when the Lich King comes out, does the plague go away?
Yes and no. It goes away from everywhere but Northrend. Once it launches, they send you to Northrend, and you're following the trail of the plague back to its origin. Once you get that far, it'll cancel all of the stuff that you as a player deal with in regards to the plague.
All right. What about flying? When was that introduced into the game?
It'll be flying can already happen in Outlands. In Burning Crusade. And you'll be able to fly in Northrend. You will not be able to fly in Classic until Cataclysm, which probably will never get launched. But that's when you could fly in regular Azeroth. is in Cataclysm, because they started utilizing the world of Calmad, or the continents of Calmador and Eastern Kingdom, to incorporate the 5 regions of the Cataclysm expansion. And when they did that, they were like, well, everybody's so used to flying now, we can't just not let them have flying in this expansion. So then they made it fly worldwide across Azeroth once you unlocked it in Cataclysm. So you won't see Azeroth flying until Cataclysm, if they do that.
Gotta go to Northrend and get cold weather flying.
Yep. Also, all you tailorers out there, you better fight until you get your tailoring buff. Plan. Because you'll get a Frostweave quest that will increase how much cloth that you're guaranteed to get from humanoids. And that counts at the start of Wrath, and it'll also count anything prior. So it'll encompass all the areas. That one character as a tailor has a chance to get more cloth from there on out once you get that quest line done.
I will need to do that quest line. 100%.
Yep.
Also, no Bolvar. We get the real Lich King.
Wait, what do you mean no Bolvar? We'll have Bolvar.
Bolvar will be there, but he won't be Lich King Bolvar.
No, Bolvar will be there to kick Arthas's ass.
Yes, but he'll be human-looking Bolvar.
Well, I mean, but we still have Bolvar.
Normal Bolvar.
It's funny, chat, because they're bringing out the expansion where Bolvar became the Lich King. In retail, we have the expansion where Bolvar was removed from the Lich King throne because his helmet got shattered into pieces.
That's true. There are no more Lich Kings.
So we're seeing the birth of one Lich King after we saw the death of them all.
Also, one thing that I do like about Classic more than retail is how they treat Arthas.
What? How the devil are they treating Arthas any different in retail as they're treating him in Classic?
Into Shadowlands, Arthas, what's left of Arthas's soul bubbles up there as a little blue blob and goes, and that's it. He's gone. Doesn't exist anymore. He's out. No afterlife, no nothing. He just.
But that's Uther's fault.
Doesn't matter.
It does matter.
You build up this guy.
The ultimate paladin. The ultimate paladin committed the biggest atrocity ever.
I don't care. I'm just saying that character. If they can lead us on with Sylvanas forever.
I mean, have you seen her model? She shares models with
and she's a
Alex Straza.
Badass cat. Oh well, I mean, they gotta have that model around, right? That's half the subscription right there.
I mean, that's how they led you on, right?
But and instead of Sylvanas getting what she deserved, and which is time, they give her soul back, and she's now in the mall doing her thing, running around. And then Arthas, like I said, just.
That's because Arthas had a whole fucking expansion.
Listen, he had one expansion and he was the boss at the end of the expansion, and then that was it. I understand that. That's it. But then you have this whole, we're going to the afterlife, and everybody's like, oh my God, we are going to see Arthas. Arthas is going to be there because he's dead. We're going to get to see the OG Lich King there. But will he be Lich King Arthas, or will it be Arthas? What are we going to do? No, what happens? He bubbles out. Karen farts too loud and blows his soul into oblivion, and there we go. That's the end of Arthas. Take a character that big and that powerful and nothing.
You are aware that and the part I love the most about this, right, is people like what devs at Blizzard don't ever plan ahead. Chat, just so y'all are aware, when they brought out Wrath, that prepped and set the stage for the retail expansion we're in right now. And they followed that to its entirety. Because when did Sylvanas die, Clan? Like become a Banshee Queen?
Warcraft 3.
At whose hands?
Arthas.
Where did she end up?
Battlelands with the jailer.
But what was she before she helped the jailer?
She was before that. She was the leader of the Horde.
Right. They
She was a
had
war
this
chief.
prepped since they decided to make Arthas the Lich King. The tie between him and Sylvanas to the end.
I don't know about. I wouldn't go that far.
Think about
I
it.
You
wouldn't go
know,
that far with it.
you could say that, but I've experienced a little bit of story writing myself, and sometimes you just say things, and then later on you kind of figure it out, and then you're like, oh, I planned that all along.
I think that it
not
helped him
saying-
get rid of Sylvanas for a while.
But the thing is, what I'm getting at is not that it was fully fleshed out that it's going to be start to finish from here to there. What I mean is they keep intertwining Sylvanas and the Lich King's fate since he turned her.
True, but to be fair though, they also keep on intertwining Thrall and Jaina, and so far we've not got that hot Thrall Jaina fan
That's
fiction
because
everybody's
they're
waiting for.
afraid to pull that trigger. Because the moment they do, their game becomes something else.
Yeah, hot fan fiction.
Because
Listen, I'm sorry. Every writer at Blizzard wants Thrall to Dabu her Zug Zug real bad. that is the truth, and they just haven't yet.
well, see, here's the thing, right? Like
The same
if
could
you
be
play-
said for Sylvanas, though.
if you played Battle for Azeroth and you went and saved Jaina, like you saw the story and you saved her, Thrall was there. Like this thing has been going on since Thrall was imprisoned back
Yes.
at the beginning of Warcraft.
This lady said for us to stop. She just missed a fish from laughing too hard. Listen. This Thrall Jaina fan fiction is they are so hard up for this that they erased Thrall's wife and kids from the game. They've not been seen in like 4 expansions.
Well, so here's what happened there. And I'm not trying to defend about this thing.
It's so bad that we met what was left of their storyline. I'm pretty sure in Shadowlands as a coach.
Well, the
That's
thing
how dead
was
that story
is Warlords is when they made it go away. And when Thrall shows up in Warlords of Draenor, it gets to the original Draenor and he sees his mom and dad. His mom says to him, "Where's your mate?" She's back in Azeroth with the kids. Well, what kind of mate was she if she isn't willing to be by your side in a fight? Like his mom called his ass out.
typical mother-in-law.
And then after that whole conversation, the family was gone.
Take your Dabu and Zug Zug out of here. Gotta go commune with the elements. And Jaina's got a tattoo on her back that says the elements.
Man.
No, that tattoo on her back says "Force of Wind."
Her theme should be Ice Ice Baby.
I mean, she is one of the more badass mages they've ever brought into the game.
She'd give Khadgar a run for his money.
I mean, she made Medivh look like a bitch at one point. When she comes riding through the air on a fucking battleship, I mean, come on. That ship was waterborne, not airborne. And she raised that sucker out of the ocean, brought it through a planar rift, showed up, and started kicking ass from on top of the deck of that ship. Medivh wasn't doing that mess. Khadgar sure shit ain't doing that mess.
So which one do you like better? Classic Jaina or retail Jaina?
Classic Jaina. No contest. They made retail Jaina out to be too stuck up and changed her whole personality and attitude.
Yeah.
The original Jaina, like the Jaina when Jean Greymane's son is killed. Like that Jaina was fine. The Jaina before that was fine. When you throw Jaina out after Anduin is missing in Mist, she starts to turn. That's where she starts to change personality and attitude and you know all that. And then it just starts to turn into what we have now.
Yeah. So
now there's aspects of Battle of Azeroth where Jaina's badass when she finally heads home and proves to her family that she's better than what they let her out to be and how they feel about her. But
yeah, I like the Kulturan stuff. I do
yeah.
like the Kulturan stuff.
But then she's a hard ass and this way to prove to her family that they're wrong.
Yeah.
But other than that portion of it, I take classic Jaina any day.
Okay. So, Buck, you said you're a more retail guy than a classic guy. You gave us the reasons why. Is there anything about retail that you kind of don't like and you wish were more like classic?
Yeah. A lot.
give me your top one.
Biggest talents. The bullshit they do with what they brought out with here lately. Prime example, chat. My first character ever, Protection Paladin. He had an ability called Righteous Fury. I click it, it stays on me permanently. It's like an aura, just like in D&D. 90% threat generation the entire time it is active on me. That means that Clan could be firing off every arcade barrage and arcade missile he's got at his disposal and run out of all his mana, and his ass is never pulling from me. Lady could be healing the entire party from 0 to 100, and they're not pulling anything off of me because that threat generation is too damn high. They took it away. They took it out of his rotation. They took it out of the talent tree. And then when they changed the talent trees and brought them back, they still didn't re-add it. So talents are a big deal in retail that they fucked up. And if they don't bring that shit back in Dragonflight, then they're still going to be shit as a whole for talent changes in Dragonflight.
Do you agree with talk about the talents, Diz?
I don't like where there's no consequence in retail, where you can just change what you are. Like, oh, I need to be a DPS now, so I'll just change over here to be a DPS. I kind of like the old school where it was like you made a character and that's kind of what it was. I know you can reset your talents in classic, you know,
but there's a cost.
There's a cost. I kind of like that. I kind of like just,
and every time you do it,
you are who you are.
Well, you can get a tome of Clear Mind, though. It doesn't cost you a thing if Inscriptionist makes it.
True, but that's new. Inscription just came out, though.
Right.
That's a rad thing. In Classic and TBC, you couldn't do that.
Yeah.
You only reset your talents.
They even felt bad about it in Wrath because of the fact that they're giving you dual talent spec, right?
Dual spec, yeah.
And that's going to take 1,000 gold for you to learn to be able to do either or. And they're like, we're already charging them that much gold. Let's add something in here to where they can reset their shit if need be. Well, yes,
Yeah.
but that part doesn't bother me. You know what it is. What it is. This an evolution. It's the evolutionary portion of the game. My problem is taking the spells away that make a character what they are.
Yeah, and I think they tried to. They didn't go as far as I think they should have. But they tried to fix that some in Shadowlands because of everybody going back to Classic and saying, "Oh God, I remember these abilities. They were so awesome. I wish we could still do that." And they're like, "Oh yeah, in Shadowlands, we're going to bring back some of those things that you liked." And then in Dragonflight now we're getting instead of the 9 boxes and you just tick a box and boom you have a build. You're getting there's a class talent tree and kind of a spec talent tree that you'll be able to go down. So it gives you a lot more personalization. Not everybody is a cookie cutter. This is a Fury Warrior and this is what you should be as a Fury Warrior. This is a Disc Priest and this is what you should always be as a Disc Priest. So you have
there's shit that you should always be as a Disc Priest. I don't give a fuck what you look at. And I will call you out on it, chat. If I see your build and it's not what it should be, I will call your ass out on it because that is my favorite class of all time.
Guys, chat's discovered you guys are dressed alike.
I mean, we've been this way the entire time, chat. I even brought it up at the start.
They didn't tell me though, chat, was the bad part. They didn't tell me about this. So here I am looking like a doofus. So, I know where I'm at on the totem pole.
Well,
I mean, to be completely fair, Diz, when did we talk today?
Yeah, earlier.
I sent him a message.
A couple hours ago.
What's the topic? Yeah. He said Clerks. Then he messaged me back and said, we're going with WoW. Said, very well. And then I waited till Zoom call. Clan, you and I talked more than me and Diz today.
I do like the Clerks idea, though.
Yeah, we could talk about Clerks.
The thing is there's this antenna up here that I'm linked into all y'all shit.
Oh, damn it. Now it all makes perfect sense. All right.
We had this talk.
That's true. So Buck said what he would rather have, in opposite land. So what would you rather have? Do you prefer classic over retail? What would you want in classic retail has? There's something from retail that you would bring over to classic.
The content. Just keep the game the same. Just drag all the content.
Dragonflight story is what you're wanting. Okay. All right, cool. Thanks. Good answer. Good answer. I'll tell you what I would like, and I wish they would implement. I don't know if it's even possible, but I would love for them to implement Wrath. I wish, like, going into Wrath. Oh, Cameron Mafia just subscribed. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Prime sub.
That's right. That toasty prime sub.
And the hype. The gamma hype.
The hype explosion. Like I said, you may want to go to the doctor. If you go for more than 4 hours, please see a professional. So what I would like is the flight paths that they brought in Cataclysm. More flight paths. I wish they would bring in Wrath. Because I know they can't bring in flying, but they can train a couple more Griffins.
Clan wants to be able to fly like to Goldshire. That's naked on their
I
tables.
want to be able to fly from Goldshire to Eastville Logging Camp. Yes.
So I don't remember, in retail, do you have to collect the flight pass?
No.
Are they
not after Cataclysm launched?
Yeah, I would appreciate that in classic. If you already
you
had all
have
the
to-
flight pass.
Right. If you already had them all, like for example, when they brought out since they brought out the Death Knights, you make a Death Knight, you have all flight pass unlocked to you until Outlands. Like everything in what would be considered vanilla is unlocked to you the moment you make the character.
Because I mean that doesn't make any sense in the game that they already have these people that fly around. They just didn't know how to get there until you went there. So
Well, I think what it is that
they
the way
wanted
they
you
had
to
it
walk,
set up
maybe, and
was
see all
they
the
wanted you
work
to
they put in.
explore and experience their game.
Yeah.
Which is why in every expansion, even if flying is a thing, you aren't flying in that expansion until you become max level and you do an achievement quest line. And then it unlocks the ability to fly. Like you can fly in Shadowlands now if you've done the achievements.
See, I don't need the flying. Like if I just had where I could go and fly to certain points and then explore from there, I'm fine with that. I don't have to fly to every little part of the map. Because that's some of the fun in Classic, where having to figure out how to get up to certain places on the mountain and stuff like that. And
well, I mean, and that's what they do in the new stuff, right? Like Shadowlands. How many times when you were out there
like anima,
and had to, you saw the little silver chest and you ran over to the icon on the map and you're like, there's nothing here. And then you looked up and you see it in a tree and you're like, how the fuck do I get in that tree?
right.
Like that's the fun stuff.
Time.
Attack of the Kitty.
Hey now.
show us the child.
It is the child. It is time. All right, Luca.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Like I'll walk over and be trying to find the place to mine and look up, and it's halfway up the mountain.
Right.
And then I either just abandon that one or I have to figure out how to get up on that mountain.
And I like the exploration. I mean, that's part of getting lore master, exploring everything, questing everywhere, turning in every single quest in the game. I love that part of it because I'm like, okay, because back in the day when everything started, I was like, all right, I've done all this, we hit level 60. Okay, you can't go any further. Okay, I need gold. I can't ride and get epic riding if I don't have, hundreds of gold. What's the best way to get it? Let's go to every region I haven't been to yet. Let's do every quest that is there. Because even if it was minimal, you were seeing more of the game. You were getting the quests done. And then Outlands happened. And you started doing those quests. And it kept going. Wrath, Kata, everything else. Wrath came out. They said, you know what? We're going to give the players achievements. The day that achievement list came out, we can't even discuss how well or how long I sit there and watch shit just pop on my screen from everything I had done before this happened. Because they retrograded all that to catch up and was like, oh, well, if he's at 60 and he's got all these quests done and all these flight pass, then we're giving him credit for everything that he's done. And it was great, except for I couldn't see my screen for like 30 minutes. Watching everything pop up.
And I think Raw Bob in chat brings up a good point. He says, in retail, the wonder of the world is gone. In Classic, the world still matters.
Well, I mean, but
I think it's the truth.
That depends on your perspective.
In retail, Azeroth doesn't matter.
Right.
Because you left it. You leave it all the time. Every expansion after Cataclysm, you're pretty much leaving Azeroth. every now. It's like we'll leave Azeroth, and in 3 expansions we'll come back and we'll add something new. So you had retail, you had vanilla, you had TBC where you left, you had Lich King where you got a new continent, and then in Cataclysm the world reset. So you have
I'm
a new Azeroth, basically,
well,
right?
yeah,
Things are
because
different now.
Deathwing was a dick.
Yeah, exactly. He destroyed everything, just about it. So all even zones you're used to. Oh, guess what? Now they're brand new.
Hey guys, Thousand
They're
Needles no
different
longer
now.
dry and dusty. It's covered in water.
Exactly. So then what happened after Cataclysm? Went to Pandaria. Where we go after that? Oh, hey, you remember the Dark Portal? Well, what if we went through the Dark Portal, but it sent you back in time as well to an alternate Draenor
Well,
that isn't all broke
the
up.
thing with Pandora though is it's still considered Azeroth. They
Well,
added
it's
it
on
that
Azeroth, but it's a new continent.
right,
You're
but
not
I'm
in the
saying
Eastern Kingdoms or Kalimdor anymore.
right. So that made up the 4 continents. All the rest of the shit you left the whole entire realm.
Yeah. So then after Pandaria, you got
Warlords.
Draenor.
Yep.
Warlords Draenor. And everybody went, damn. And then we got Legion, which was cool. What happens in Legion? Demons come back. Illidan comes back. It's the Horde and the Alliance have to form an alliance together and work together in order to defeat this great evil. Then what happens at the end of it? Now we hate each other again, bro. Now we got this new mineral called azurite that we got to get.
I got a question for you. Should they have only taken the expansion so far and then said that's the end of World of Warcraft, and then they released a whole new game called World of Warcraft Cataclysm, and you started with new characters, new items, everything, and then that's just a separate, different game?
I think
I
they
don't
should have done World of Warcraft 2 with a time jump.
I don't think that they would have been able to get away with that. I agree with Rob that they should do a second. I mean, they've already got Dragonflight in the mix. And if that, let it run its course. Bring Dragonflight out, let it run its course. Make World of Warcraft 2 on the Unreal Engine. Upgrade everything. Send it in a whole new facelift, whole new stat, everything into WoW 2. Kill off the first one. You've had to try to revitalize it with Classic because you as a company screwed up with BFA, and then you royally fucked everything with Shadowlands. If Dragonflight revitalizes your game, then shift it to something or shift it to the new stuff before your next expansion.
In a perfect, which is weird because usually WoW goes good expansion, bad expansion, good expansion, bad expansion, good expansion, bad expansion. But in a perfect world for me, and this is just me, and everybody's probably going to shit on this idea, and I'm fine with that. Like I said, this is just if Diesel had his perfect world, right? We would get to the story of Dragonflight. We would get a Warcraft 4.
Interesting.
And then World of Warcraft 2 would continue the story of Warcraft 4, kind of like World of Warcraft continued the story of Warcraft 3.
So the
And
reason I
and in
said
that,
go ahead, you won't finish.
and in that, I'm saying that in Warcraft 4, there's a clear transition, right? So the old characters are gone. At some point during that game, you transition to new characters. There's a time jump, something, right? And a new thing. So maybe there's an alliance and a horde, but maybe they're mixed up, or maybe there's the alliance and horde come together and then eventually split up into 3 different factions or something like that, right? There's a change, there's a fundamental change, right? And that's been the thing with World of Warcraft, right? It's still kept that original Warcraft 1 thing of There's a horde and there's an alliance. There's orcs, humans, and their friends.
And their friends.
And their friends. And I think, people have talked about it. It's like, okay, are they going to do like, they're going to split everybody up? There's going to be like a third faction come out or something? Or, how do they change the world and what do they do with it, right?
It's a great idea. We'll go with the Destiny model. Oh, there's a brand new enemy. You just didn't know about them till now.
Because I mean, in World of Warcraft now we got Horde, we got Alliance, we got Old Gods, we've got the Titans, you've got the Legion, you've got there's a bunch of things out there.
The Shaw.
Right. Yeah. And there's things, astral stuff now. And void stuff and all this other stuff. So it's kind of like they're gonna have to do something. I just don't know what it is. I mean,
Well,
like I said,
they
World of
couldn't
Warcraft
do
2 would
faction.
be the big thing.
They couldn't do faction. The reason I say that is we've had it since the beginning of 3 factions. If you think about it, the way they did rap games, you have the Horde, you have the Alliance, and then every expansion you have a group of anywhere from 5 to 9 groups that you need to try to exalt and aid throughout that expansion. That's your third faction. In every expansion it changes, but there's always those rep games that you have to accomplish. In Shadowlands, it was the 4 initial covens, and then they brought out the Chains of Domination, and they added a couple more factions that you had to deal with. But there's always been 3 factions in the regards of the 3 main groups: Horde, Alliance, and then the neutral group that both sides aid.
Right, but you can't, for story wise and everything, you can't just have Horde, Alliance, and other. You have to have some kind of power.
It's worked up to this point.
In 2, what needs to happen is everyone,
to get that money,
Illidan, everyone has to die or move on. Once they move on, even our characters that we've played for almost 2 decades are no longer existent. They all have to go away. You have to start a new game and either merge it all. She says that as she's playing Classic as an Alliance. You either have to merge them all or put us at each other's throats to the point that you're literally trying to kill the other one off and own the entirety of the world.
Okay. All right.
Because what else are you going to do? You've done everything else.
That's true.
Now, bring us all together and have us fight some new entity that just showed the fuck up at our doorstep that Illidan brought back. That he went on to the cosmos with the gods and caused an issue that is irrefutably going to cause us to fight something we've never seen before. And the entirety of Azeroth has to band together to fight it.
That is after Dragonflight.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like,
that's definitely after the expansion. That's the next expansion after Dragonflight.
No, we need to just end at Dragonflight and shift gears.
So, to my point of multiple games, the reason I said that was because I hear many people talk about, well, they have released a new expansion. All of my old stuff that I had worked so hard to get is now garbage, right? It's starter gear is what it is now. So, and all you're getting in every little expansion is 10 additional levels and a handful of quests and a bunch of busy work to do, so you get exalted with all the rep and everything. I'm saying if they did X amount of expansions like Lich King, that would have been a good place to say, all right, cut it right there. Cataclysm, this is a whole new storyline. The whole world has changed, and then go 2 or 3 expansions there, cut it, do a new game. and actually put the time into building out a level 1 through 60 game instead of it being, oh, now you're going from level 70 to 80, and takes you a little bit longer because there's more XP, but here's 3 new dungeons and here's a raid, you know. But they do risk the losing some people in that transition because Cataclysm may have sucked. I don't know.
I liked Cat.
So if you do that, then you risk losing people or them staying with the old game and not going to the new game. But that's part of it. Otherwise, it's just it feels like they're just keep giving you a little bit just to get your money, to keep your money coming in. So, and not actually trying to work on a good product. Because in this Dragonflight thing, to me, it may be cool, but it's just like, oh, cool! Look at all the cool flying stuff you can do. The storyline may be good, but the mechanic of that, it felt cheap to me. I don't know. Maybe it's amazing when I get in there. I may be like, I'm having so much fun. I recant everything I said on 3 Old Men.
I mean, I'm looking forward to Dragonflight, not for the new flight mechanic, not for the new class and character creation. They're bringing back the stuff they never should have took away.
I like that as well.
They're also giving us a new revamped look at professions. And I love doing professions.
Yes, you do.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, Rob. They're bringing back what they never should have took away. Our ability to fully play with our class and fix it the way we want it. With our talents. Instead of going, well, here's your 3 choices, pick it and go. Well, you don't really have 3 choices. You have 1 choice that amplifies 2 or 1 ability in 2 different ways. And then you've got a 3rd one that amplifies something else during this category of chooses. That's not giving me options. That's just which way do I want it to work the best. Let me pick a talent tree and set this sucker up to, if I want to be nothing but a healer as a resto druid and never once be able to do an ability to attack something, let me do that. And if I screw it up, then let me suffer the consequences of getting yelled at going, dude, you suck. You got to do DPS. And then me figure out another way to make it work. But
so I'm going to ask the real question now. And I expect a legitimate answer out of each of you. Ready?
I always give legitimate answers.
All right. Taking classic and retail into consideration.
Mm-hmm.
How is each not as good as the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy 14? I'm kidding.
This, you go first, and then I'll rail him a good one since you don't know enough about it.
I had to say it. No, in all honesty, a real question. We've talked about what you individually like, dislike about each version of WoW. We've talked about what you would like to change in the version that you like. So, as far as classic goes, and also your opinion on retail, what do you see as the future? So, is classic dead after this? Is this it? And if we're done, everybody pack your bags and go home? Or where does classic go from Wrath?
It can't.
But can it? Diz brought up a good question, and it's one thing that I've been wondering about. Is this because WoW does this sometimes? Is that WoW brings in to fix things? They'll bring in time travel, right? If you want to experience the old content, you can. What do? You go talk to Chromie, and Chromie sends you back in time. You can experience that. You want to fight Arthas as a Lich King? Fine, talk to Chromie. She'll send you back to Lich King. You can go fight Arthas as the Lich King. What if it's just a big if, and I want each of you to tell me where you think it's going. But do you think that there could be a possibility that at the end of Wrath, we see Classic diverge into an alternate timeline?
I would love it, but I don't think that they would do that because what they've shown me to up to this point is that they like to just release the expansion. They don't want to make a new game, and that would be making a whole new game. And they're just not into it for this because it's a cash cow. And if you make a new game, you risk losing people. So in doing that, unless they just keep it tied together where it's just one payment and you get both games,
I think
you
they
know.
will. I think they would do that. But my thing though is it would be a very good trick because they expected as soon as Classic came out, everybody said, "Oh, well, they're going to do up to Wrath, and that'll be it." So, and they've been like clockwork. They've been doing that every year. Oh, we're bringing in TBC Classic, and everybody get experience going to Outland again. Oh, we're bringing out Wrath Classic, and everybody going to experience going to Northrend and fighting the Lich King. What if now, though, that they've fulfilled all those expectations of what everybody thought, they throw a curveball? They go, nope. Now Classic is a different thing. Now it is an alternate timeline, but we're keeping all the classic mechanics.
That would be great. You would get more, you would get some different storyline, I guess, and diverging into a different path or something, maybe. But I don't know. They haven't shown me anything in their history to lead me to think that they would do that.
Right. Well, what say you, Buck? You've been playing WoW for a long time. You've been, we've all played Blizzard games for years. Do you think that that is something that they would do? That they would even entertain doing?
They'll run into a problem if they do. But follow this, and you'll understand what I'm talking about.
Okay, shoot.
You go to Wrath. You fight the Lich King. You get done. Everyone that had said that it's going to go Classic just to Wrath knows that, as you said earlier, when Cataclysm happened, the entirety of WoW changed. They reset the world and made it different. They started changing major things about the game. And so that took the Classic Divergent away from going further than Wrath in 90% of the people's opinions that's been playing since the beginning.
Right.
You start changing and veering off and making something different. Now you're fighting with your new expansions that are coming out for what is they're calling retail. Because now you're having people have to choose. Play the old content, play Dragonflight. You make this new change, now they're choosing play two new different types of content. And if you drop the ball on one, then they're staying on the other. If you drop the ball on both, you just shot yourself in the foot and destroyed your entire game.
What though if they release the content on kind of a skip system where this next expansion will be retail, right? So Dragonflight. And then like maybe 2 years after Dragonflight, they say, okay, we're going to release, a new banded classic plus. Right.
Well, we'll see here.
And then they say 2 years after that, we're saying, okay, now we're going to make a new expansion for retail.
But see, here's where they're already going to shoot themselves in the foot, right? You screwed up in BFA slightly, but you still screwed up. You royally screwed up in Shadowlands. In order to salvage that, you started Classic up again. You're bringing Lich King out in September at the tail end. Then you're going to try to launch Dragonflight roughly 2.5 months after that, to where you're bringing new content out onto content that people have been playing for a long time. If Dragonflight isn't up to speed and isn't up to the code of what everybody's hoping for, then going forward, retail's dead. because nobody's going to want to play it anymore because that's 3 expansions in a row that you've dropped the ball. Your cash cow, as Diz put it, is dwindling already. If you screw up here, then people will play Classic because we've played it for so long that we enjoy it. But if you screw up the new expansion in the same end of the year run that you released your Classic game, don't expect to get people back when you break that glass and bring Illidan back into the fray.
Here's a thing I'm going to throw in here and answer it if you think this will make a difference or not. Microsoft.
Microsoft can bring in 2 aspects that might help Blizzard salvage some of their game.
Well, I'm not,
One,
well, I mean, there's that, but I'm talking about splitting Classic and WoW into 2 different games, diverging Classic from what everybody's thinking that it's going to be.
well, but that's what I'm saying. Like, Microsoft will do the same 2 things regardless. They'll bring the money in to help give you flexibility to potentially do so. They also have the means to bring in more talent to allow you to diversify and potentially spread your creative legs, for example, or for lack of a better word, to try to do both at the same time. But the overall thing they're going to run into is, if you're going to keep dropping the ball on new content for a game that's been around for almost 2 decades, you might as well cancel that game and start something else, because people are going to get tired of throwing money at your game that you're screwing up. So Microsoft could get them help there with the accusation with Microsoft acquiring Blizzard, and I guess technically Activision. But if you can't get your hemorrhage under control, just like in the military, if you're hemorrhaging a limb, you either stop the bleeding or you cut that bitch off, cauterize it, and move on. If you can't get this under control, then you're going to lose so much that it's not going to matter in the long run, and everything you did to this point will just fall to the wayside. No matter what company's backing you or in charge. It wouldn't matter if Amazon came in and co-owned Blizzard right alongside Microsoft. It isn't going to get anything done.
Do you think Classic's release and the expansions have basically kept WoW retail alive? Because Shadowlands was not great.
The Classic are becoming active and then pulling it out like that kept the community within Blizzard. Kept them from going elsewhere, like to Final Fantasy 14 or going to, Guild Wars 2 and stuff like that. It kept them here because they're like, oh, I remember all that shit. I'm going to go play it because I'm not playing this expansion. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if they screw up this next expansion, Classic, in 90% of everybody's minds, Classic dies at the end of Wrath. There is no more Classic because everybody viewed Cataclysm as the change.
Yeah. I just think that Classic's become such a big moneymaker for them now that I don't know, corporate wise, I don't know if they would just let it die.
Oh, I'm not saying that they should let it die. And I agree that if you want to, try to broaden the horizons and take it elsewhere, say we don't kill the Lich King technically in Wrath Classic, or say we do kill him, and instead of Bolvar taking the crown, encasing himself in ice for all these decades to allow everything to unfold to what it did into Shadowlands, and say somebody else holds that crown and gets as corrupt as Arthas, and now we're fighting something on a whole different level, diverging off, like you were saying, add a classic into something else. You could pull that off. I'm not saying that couldn't be pulled off. I'm saying if you want to keep retail going, you can't keep adding new stuff here and expecting this one to shine, because new content that's decent and follows the mechanics of what we did for what 9 years is going to make this dull out to the point that retail's gone.
All right, here's another thought. Has this whole classic thing in WoW been a setup for the Warcraft TV series to contend with the new Game of Thrones or the new Lord of the Rings show?
No,
I
but
don't-
I am looking forward to the Warcraft movie sequel.
I don't think that classic retail, any of that, would ever be a prelude or a setup to be like, all right, now we got to contend with the other. Since 2004, Blizzard has been one of the better companies I've seen make cinematics and videos. They put great work into that detail of the cutscenes and all of that stuff that transpired. That's why so many people wanted them to make that movie. I think they need to make the second movie. They need to get it out, because that will spur a lot more people to want to come play the game if they enjoyed both of the movies, because the movies are following what we've lived for almost 2 decades now. But you start changing the movie and adding stuff that was never in the games, from Warcraft all the way to Warcraft 3 all the way through World of Warcraft. If you add stuff that's not there, then people are gonna be like, what the fuck kind of movie is this? Like, you're just trying to throw extra shit in there, like with The Hobbit.
Mhm.
Let's take one book and make it 3 movies because we can. Not that you should, but because you could. And now there's a bunch of shit added there that you're like, wait a minute. None of this was in the book. And that's the same as trying to make a movie where you're looking at it going, none of this was in the game. None of this is in the books that were written about the game. And you couldn't pull that off unless you picked the movie up, like Clan was saying, and diverged classic after Lich King into something else, and then followed that timeline, storyline, whatever, and then started making new content.
Yeah. Halo does it, but they don't do it with movies, and the TV show is not part of the actual Halo universe. So Halo does it with books. You have one game, a series of books, and then the next game, and the books lead you into the next game.
Right.
Even though a lot of people don't read the books, and you can play the game, and it kind of makes sense, I guess. There's a lot of unanswered questions. You're like, but you can jump into the next game, and it's not that big of a deal. And WoW might do that as well, but for in between the expansions or something. But I'm
Like,
not
there's
familiar
some
with
books
that.
like there's Diablo, prime example.
Mm.
When you're playing Diablo, you have the Dark Traveler, right? That one warrior that fought Diablo back in Diablo 1, and he's carrying his soul stone and he's trying to fight it and try. You don't know much about him. There's books that take place that show everything and the path that he took, the Dark Traveler, from the time he took out Diablo to where he showed up in Diablo 2. There's books that link all of that together so that you can understand what happened. WoW's is more along the lines of following an individual's backstory, like Thralls or Varian Ren and stuff like that. And it's not as in depth of a storyline to follow, like the cinematics in the game itself.
Lady, the Warcraft movie is like a prequel to WoW, basically.
Yeah,
You'll see stuff in the movie that you recognize, like Goldshire and stuff, but it takes place before the game. So, go ahead, bud.
Like Warlords of Draenor, lady, where you're at right now. Imagine that world's happening, and then you made a character that you're playing in Classic right now. The movie takes place to link those two worlds. And then in the game, you head back to Warlords in a different timeline than what transpired in the game. Is how they have that linked. The movie dictates the journey that Thrall took initially and his family to get to Azeroth.
Yeah. I think we've got another movie added to the list for Nerdicopia movie night.
I mean, I'm down for some World of Warcraft.
All right. So, final thoughts, gentlemen. Where do we stand on this? What are your final thoughts? Last words on the subject?
I hope that they continue with some classic content, but I don't expect them to. Maybe if we could get some motivation here for some extra stuff like a movie or a TV series or something along that lines, I think that would be pretty good if if we could at least get that out of this, and I hope they just keep the classic servers around, forever and ever. So
Yeah,
I'll just keep replaying through those levels 1 through 25.
83 level 25 characters. All right, Buck, what are your final thoughts on the subject?
First off, I'm trying to figure out why Diz only wants to go to 25. Like, why not 30? In Classic, 30 was your first mount. 30 was your first mount. So why not at least get to 30? Why stop 5 short from a mount? But anyways, I hope the Dragonflight at least addresses where they know they screwed up. Like, there's enough of us beta testers that have emailed them and told them what's going on, that they need to really hear the populace, because it's not like we're just sending them information and of what us as individuals want to see. It's, for example, when I send stuff, I have you, Diz, Lady, Oni, Timmy, Harley, all of y'all have said things, and I add that to the list. It's every beta tester is not just running solo. Yeah. And so I hope that they address the stuff that they know is a problem. And I hope they don't drop the ball, because if they do, I've been in this game for almost 20 years, and I will walk away from it if they keep screwing around.
Okay. My final thoughts. I am looking forward to Dragonflight. It's something new. Kind of see what they do. I hope they don't have the bullshit collect 1,000 dragon scales every 3 days or whatever that Shadowlands did with Anima, because that is bullshit.
It'll be 1,000 kilos of poop.
Yeah, exactly. And then as far as classic goes, I'm really hoping that I'm right and that they surprise us all with the ending. Like, I'm hoping, we had an alternate Draenor pop up in Warlords, right? I'm hoping like an alternate Sylvanas comes in, saves Arthas there at the very end before we can kill him, and then now we don't know what's going on. There's a Sylvanas and an Arthas out there somewhere. We don't know what's going on. Then we get, Classic expanded, and it's an alternate timeline. That's what I hope. But we'll see. We'll see. Or
how about this for an alternate timeline, Clan? We fight Arthas, right? as we go to kill him, a golden light shows up that stops all of us. Even freezes Arthas in his place. And it's Uther from another time and place, there to fix the mistake he made to start.
That would work too. Or the ultimate alternate timeline. We're there, get ready to fight Arthas. Arthas uses crazy undead magic, knocks everybody down. We're all getting ready to die, in the raid. Everybody's getting ready to die. All of a sudden, Arthur goes, "What is that?" and looks over to the corner. And then in the background, we see 4 lights approaching. And then the music dims. And we hear,
"No,
carry on my wayward
No,
son."
no.
And
I
it's
knew
all
where it was going. No,
Classic is a huge supernatural.
No.
And the Winchesters show up and kill the Lich King. Boom, I'm done. All right, for Diz, for Double Buck, everybody, we're going to say goodnight now because we've went almost 2 hours on this episode. So, wow, meaty.
And we find out
BT
that
content.
Bobby is Arthas's dad.
That Bobby is secretly Uther.
You damn idiot.
So, yep. So remember, Saturday we have D&D on Buck's channel,
No,
correct?
Disney
On Buck's
channel.
Well, Disney. So here we got D&D here, chat. Here. Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Right here, twitch.tv/Nerdocopia Network. Us 3 will be there. Lady will be there. A bunch of other people will be there. Be sure you tune in. It's going to be fun and exciting. And then Monday, we have Retro Game Show Extreme, where we will either be continuing our Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask run or playing WoW Classic. One of the two.
If Diz has his choice, y'all are playing WoW Classic.
If I have my choice, we're playing WoW Classic. And then,
So
of course,
chat, tune in for WoW Classic.
That's right. And of course, D&D Saturday, which means next Thursday is After the Roll, where we discuss why Diz rolled all those nat 20s. It's a little bit suspicious.
Because Mao gave him a loaded die.
There you go. All right. So, Diz, say goodbye to everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Buck, say goodbye to everybody.
Fine. Bye.
All right. Don't worry, lady. Booting up WoW Classic right after this. All right, everybody. Bye from Diesel. Love you. Hope to see you here again the next time we're live, which is Saturday. That was a question making sure. Remember, as always, on 3 Old Men, we'll leave you with, "Hey, you kids, go play WoW."
Oh.
See ya.